You're listening to the Adventurous Reinvention podcast. I'm Allison Boyle, aka She Dreams of Alpine, and this is the show that's dedicated to all the adventurous spirits out there who have either been transformed by the outdoors or are interested in what it looks like to step into a new, adventurous, and courageous kind of identity in their life. It doesn't matter what your background is in the outdoors, what age you're starting at, or where you grew up. If you're curious about the outdoors and using adventure as a way to reinvent yourself, you're in the right place. I'll be sharing all kinds of personal adventure stories, lessons I've learned from the mountains, teaching what I know about the outdoors and leadership, and interviewing some amazing adventurous women all along the way. I've been coaching women on becoming safe, confident, and self-sufficient backpackers and leaders of their own adventurous lives since 2018, and I know exactly what big fears and self-doubts can pop up along the way. I have so much to share with you, so let's dive in. Hello, my friends. You are in for a very special treat on the Adventurous Reinvention podcast. I am going to be sharing the literal behind-the-scenes take on our Royal Arch Loop adventure. So if you listen to episode 16, you kind of got the 1 year later sort of recap from Meg and I about that adventure. And we also happened to have recorded daily episodes out there when we were on the trail. So what you're going to be listening to over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to release 2 episodes a week. From that experience, it was a 4-day trip, so 4 episodes total, is the real raw experience and overview of each of our day on the trail. So it is a lot of fun. There was a lot of painful moments, a lot of challenges, but also a lot of triumph. So I hope that you enjoy this series and that it gives you kind of a peek behind the scenes of what a tough and challenging backpacking adventure looks like, the highs and the lows, the 50-50 experience of it all, and why that makes it an adventure and totally worth it. So I hope you enjoy this series. Let's kick off with our episode. All right, it's Allison and
the rock troll, shade troll Meg.
Otherwise known as Meg. We're coming to you with our Grand Canyon pod, day 3 recap. Maybe we should start with like an overview of today's trail. Yes.
Today we left the cozy comforts of the beach camp.
Early.
Yeah.
Like 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we woke up
at 3 a.m. Because we had gotten a weather report from one of our partners that told us that we needed to be up at 3 a.m. to beat the heat.
It's going to be hot.
Yeah, it's going to be a hot one. So we left the beach kind of. It immediately just becomes rocky, boulder hopping, navigational nightmare.
Especially in the dark.
Yeah.
With headlamps.
And it's so deceiving because in this part of the canyon, like getting off the beach isn't on a topo. You wouldn't think it's as steep and as rugged as it is, but it's very steep and rugged.
I would say that like about the entire topo of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh, some downhill. And it'll be like, no, boulder hopping downhill.
Yeah. Or it'll be like, oh, this ditch isn't shown, and this is a rugged ditch to climb in and out of. Like,
or look, you're going flat, but it's on the cliff side.
Yeah.
Don't fall.
So it was a really rough morning, and we were kind of racing the clock because we wanted to get to a certain canyon to try to find shade by 11 a.m.
Which was like 9 miles in.
Yeah, it was 9 miles in, and we were each carrying 10 liters of water.
Yeah, today was our water haul day.
So just to set the stage, you know. And, so we went, and then we ended up in Garnet Canyon, which we didn't think was Garnet Canyon. And we were just fried at this point, I think. And there were random cairns where there shouldn't have been, or maybe not. I have no idea.
It was like a tough navigation situation.
It was tough, and it was getting really frustrating to just continue to be in that space. So
it was like easy climbing.
Yeah.
Like not climbing, maybe class 2. Class 2, like hot, like just intense though. A lot of vertical gain.
Yeah, like boulder hopping. It was with all that weight.
Yes, with I think my pack
all that weight,
like 45 pounds.
Yeah, mine was probably close to 50 because Allison's got all the sweet ultralight stuff, and I don't have as much. I don't have my system dialed like that. But
still, I never carry a 45-pound pack.
Yeah,
it's
no,
really heavy.
I feel like anytime you're above 40 pounds, it becomes like, okay, this is going to be a time. So
usually I'm around 30.
Yeah, so it was hard, and like there was this one point where we were hopping around these like industrial refrigerator sized boulders, just like, why are we in this boulder field? Why did this cairn lead us up here? And we were on like the opposite end of the canyon from where we should have been, and so we hopped back over, which also like wasn't necessarily easy. And we get up to this one point, and like we couldn't find any more cairns. They just disappeared at a point where it seemed pretty relevant to have one. So my guess is they probably fell over, and there are all these little rocks on big rock shelves, so everything looked like it could be a cairn. And there's this like low class 5, but keep in mind you have 45 pounds on your back. Like low class 5, like ladder looking thing that
looked like it had a rock with a cairn on it.
It looked like it had a rock with a cairn on
Is
it.
that it?
And we were like, is that it? And I was like, no, I am not. I was like, no. Like,
I don't know, but it was so funny. I was like not surprised. I was like,
yeah,
well,
yeah. You're like,
I guess that's it.
This is what we're doing now.
This is our life. At least we still had the rope.
Yeah. We
could have hauled the bags up or something.
Yeah. It was just basically like, imagine thick dinner plates that are like stacked. Like some of them push out, some of them push in. So like the holds would be really easy, but it was very high consequence. Yeah. Yeah. And then I saw a rock that looked like it could have been a cairn, and I walked over to it, and I was like,
we found a way around.
But that rock definitely didn't have a cairn on it. It was so confusing. And then we finally got up to the Tonto Trail, which, like...
Well, I first had a mild panic attack.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that did happen. Yeah.
Like, shortly after that, I just was like, fuck this. I'm overwhelmed, basically. I just had anxiety. All of a sudden, it just, like, rushed through me. But it was fine. It wasn't a big deal. I just, like, felt it coming, and I was like, this is happening. And I cried just a tiny bit. Not a lot, just like a little bit. And then I think it was just like feeling like that first 1.5 miles was just so much harder. And I was just like projecting the rest of the day onto us. And I was like, there's no way we're going to make it 9 miles before the heat hits. And I like panicked.
Yeah, I feel like that was a valid time.
But then we got on the Tonto, and it was like way better.
Yeah, the Tonto Trails. It's kind of, you have to like
there's some in and outs.
Yeah, there's some spots where you gotta pay attention to what you're doing, and you're gonna be stepping over boulders and stuff. But
you could finally drop into a flow.
Yeah, you could follow one layer. I mean, you're like, most of your concern is shade related and avoiding cactus. So
there were so many cactus.
But it's gorgeous. So you want to look up and enjoy everything, but like you also want to step on the cactus. So, and it was getting hot. It was getting warm, and we busted out our sun umbrellas. But
I was like, right when we needed to bust out the sun umbrellas, we had like 3 more miles to get to Copper, I think.
Yeah.
But we mathed the math wrong. Yeah. And I was like, oh, it's only 1.5 miles, which was great. I'm happy that I mathed the math wrong, because I was just like, all right, just put your head down, Allison. Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah, it sounded much more, at that hour, much more manageable than 3. Because the sun came up about 2 hours earlier than we thought it was. And it was like cooking us. And we were like, oh God, we're racing the clock. Like, it was a constant. I think what made today challenging was the racing of the clock, because we moved so slow in the beginning, and that became like really overwhelming to be like, oh my God, no, we're going to be hiking in the heat of the day.
Yeah.
Where there's really not a lot of break.
Trying to make it to a shady spot by 11.
we found the perfect rock.
So yeah, we made it. It was 9 miles. Like we just put our heads down and we like did the 1.5 that turned out to be 3 miles and made it to our troll cave.
Yes.
That Meg found for us.
Yes. I found that I was like getting to the point where my shoulders were getting really, really sore because I got 2 bad shoulders and they were just hurting.
And we had like a lot of weight of water.
Yeah. And I was hungry. I was starting to feel a little nauseous. So I was like, okay, the sun's beating me up. And I was like, the first place I see, I'm stopping. And it was this rock that looked like it would be like suitable, but we might have to move, but there may be potentially other options nearby. And we set up shop, including like we like strung the canopy or the tent fly.
Yeah.
We had our umbrellas. And
oh my gosh.
It was heaven.
So nice.
Yeah, it was heaven. It stayed shady all day.
It was like a budget motel nice, but like,
yeah,
you know, when you've been traveling all day, it felt great.
Yeah.
I had all the amenities you needed.
Exactly. I mean, like, we both fell asleep.
We both took naps.
Yeah.
We were there for 5 hours.
Yeah. And it didn't...
Or 6. I don't know. 5 or 6 hours.
5 or 6 hours? Like 5.5. Let's go. I don't know. Let's cut the difference. 5.5. And, like, we didn't hate it. Like, we never really got super uncomfortable. We got to like take care of our bodies.
I don't think I moved like for
you
a
did
solid
not.
4 hours. I stayed in my one little troll cave spot and I just like didn't leave.
Yeah, I moved around a little. I like went and stretched and I had to find a comfortable sleeping position where I was.
But I was like, this is where I live now.
Yeah. Yeah. If Allison had to stand up, it wasn't happening.
Yeah, I was like, mm-mm.
And it actually did so much, I thought, to like boost our morale and get us through the next part.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
and it was such a smart thing to do because like it's just so draining to hike in the heat. Like even though we only had 2-ish miles left from there.
Yeah.
Because it ended up, or 2.5 maybe. I think it ended up, our day total was like 11.5.
Yeah.
That like last 2.5 would have been so
miserable.
Like I probably would have just like passed out. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we're camped in a very exposed. We currently have like literally a 360-degree view of the Grand Canyon walls like all around us. We're on like the top of a little hill on the Tonto Trail. Just
that's where the wind flappy noise in the background.
Yeah.
It's kind of windy.
So it was nice. It was really nice to take a rest. And it was like, we all knew that was a thing that you do in the desert, but I've never backpacked. I backpacked in the desert quite a few times, but never had to do that because it's always been colder. So it was cool to,
Sorry, I thought something was crawling on me.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't, there's a lot of, our tent's been through some stuff, you know, I'd be surprised if we had some travelers, but yeah, I was like, I felt like we both had never done that before. And it was like actually not hard to do. We were just sitting there thinking like, when in your life do you get to just sit
where
for
you just have a spare 5 hours?
Yeah. Yeah. Just a spare 5 hours that you really need to kill.
And you're just like doing nothing.
And you're doing nothing.
That was nice.
Yeah, it was really nice. And then we kicked ass today. We like rolled right up here into camp. We're like, all right, we got like another 2 miles.
Yeah, I think like I told Meg originally that I thought today on paper sounded like it was going to be the hardest just because it's like it was roughly 2,800 feet of gain and 11.5 miles. Mm-hmm. And originally and I thought that would be harder than 12 miles downhill. I was like in my brain that just like made more sense.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize like the terrain
what kind of 12 miles
downhill. And I think it ended up being almost more than 12. I think it almost was 13 miles.
Yeah.
So yeah, day one still wins the cake for hardest.
The hardest. Yeah. But we had the most incredible views for making dinner and enjoying dinner and
this
sunset.
Has been a great campsite.
Yeah. This camp is outrageous. I mean, the winds, they're kind of gusty, but we are welcoming it because it's keeping us cool. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to die off by 9 p.m. So we'll have a quieter night, which will be great, I hope. But
so what's your
so nice
surprising hardest and what was the other one? Best?
favorite moment, worst moment, I guess, right? Like favorite, like hardest thing and best thing.
Hardest,
I guess,
and then most surprising.
Yeah, we don't even know anymore. This is how tired we are. Okay, surprising.
That's always such a hard one.
I'm gonna come back to that one. Hardest for sure was getting out of Garnet Canyon, for sure. It just, God. Best moment, actually. I have a kind of a tie. One, I think, was actually taking a nap. Like, I didn't think I could do that as a almost 40-year-old human. Yeah. And like kind of enjoying the troll cave, you know, and how wonderful it was. It was cool. We weren't hot. It was like comfortable. Like we did great. There was a nice view. And then I would say that the other best moment was right when we were cresting the hill up to this camp, because the lighting was starting to get really nice. It was finally kind of cooler. Are you eating?
No, I think there's just like a gnat in here or something. And it keeps landing on my arm. Sorry.
I'm like, bugs, spiders.
I think it's seeing my light from the phone. And it's
freaking out. Yeah. And then most surprising, how good I feel having hauled 10 liters of water up to this point today. Like how like my body doesn't feel too bad. And I was having some intense shoulder pain this morning, so like real intense. So the fact that I'm not like whimpering in my tent is like really great. What about you?
Hardest? I mean, like, I have to go with the Garnet Canyon thing too, because I had a meltdown. Like, I melted down. I mean, that has to take the cake.
Yeah.
And I had a moment. And then favorite, I mean, agree, the troll cave was legit. It was just so nice. And also after 9 miles, like taking I mean, for some people that's like a full day. We still had a little bit extra, but it was like just properly nice to rest and chill.
Yeah, agreed.
At first I was like, what are we gonna do with 5 hours? But I don't know, that did go by fast. Surprisingly,
it did go by fast. I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, how great. Like, who would have thought?
I didn't even like read or anything.
No.
I just like sat in my troll cave spot, appreciating the like ability to just sit and not be in the heat.
Yeah, totally.
And most surprising, I think, like, I mean, I obviously thought this was going to be like one of the hardest days, so I guess I'm surprised that it wasn't. Yeah, because I don't know. Like, after my meltdown, everything kind of got better.
Yeah.
I thought in that moment, I was like, I was right. I felt validated in that second. I was like, this is the hardest day. But that was really just like a moment. And then it really got better. And honestly, had some enjoyable, like, not that the hiking hasn't been enjoyable, but a lot of it has been tough. Or like very focused,
or like borderline not hiking.
Yeah, like just you had to like really focus.
Yeah,
so
you're
your
scrambling.
Like mental energy was very just like, I'm not gonna fall and die. I'm not gonna fall and die.
Yeah.
And so today there was definitely some of that flow hiking, which I enjoy.
I missed that.
And this view, I guess, favorite is hard to beat. This like campsite is really great.
Yeah.
I wish we could show you a picture.
Yeah, maybe we'll include it in our proverbial show notes.
Yeah. Is that possible to include pictures and show notes? I don't know.
You probably...
This gnat is annoying the shit out of me.
All right, well, we should probably get going. So we don't have, like...
Tomorrow, we have another early start, and we hike our little butts finally out of the canyon.
Woo woo.
And next GC pod, you'll be hearing from us from a cozy, hopefully, hotel bedroom.
Better. Yes. We're
right.
manifesting hotel bedroom
with a cold beverage.
Yes.
All right.
Good night.
Hey, I wanted to thank you real quick for tuning into the show and listening all the way to the end. If you love this episode and you want deeper support in becoming a safe, confident, and self-sufficient hiker and backpacker, then head over to shedreamsofalpine.com/waitlist to learn more about our Backpacking Badass coaching program, where I teach you absolutely everything you need to know to be self-reliant on the trails and stop waiting around on others for the adventure invite. So I'd love to help you more in your journey of stepping into your adventurous identity, and that program is the absolute best place for us to start working together. So again, that's shedreamsaboutpine.com/waitlist, and you can learn all about it there. So that's it for today, folks. I hope you get to spend some time outside this week, and I'll be back very soon with a brand new episode. Bye.